Hey everybody, this is Pastor Brandon with the weekly update. This past weekend we celebrated Baccalaureate Sunday where we had the graduates, and the message I had for them is just as important for the rest of us. That message comes out of Hebrews chapter 12 verses 1 and 2, and I titled it Run the Race. Because the writer of Hebrews uses this analogy of running the race of life. And that passage teaches us three important truths. The first thing the writer of Hebrews teaches us about is that we have this cloud of witnesses, that we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses. And chapter 12 begins with the word therefore, and that should signal to us to look at what is behind, because therefore connects that passage to the previous one. And Hebrews 11 is well known as what is known as the Hall of Faith. Hebrews 11 details men and women in Scripture who were faithful to the Lord, who persevered through some awful circumstances, but yet remained faithful in Him. People like Abel and Abraham and Moses and Enoch who persevered. Therefore, since we have these great cloud of witnesses, we run the race. We have these men and women of the faith spurring us on, encouraging us, providing an example of faithfulness. And we have the men and women, our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents who were faithful, who poured into our lives, that we should also remember and take advice from. The second thing that we learn through Hebrews 12 verses 1 and 2 is that we should run with endurance, unencumbered. And encumbrance is a concept of being weighed down. So being encumbered means being weighed down. Being over encumbered means you are weighed down so much that you can barely move. So running unencumbered means running without a heavy weight. And of course, if you're running and you try to do that with heavy clothing or a backpack that weighs 50 pounds on you, it's gonna make it more difficult. And if you're running a race and you only have a backpack, no other runner does, you're gonna be slowed down and at a disadvantage. So when we run, we need to run unencumbered. We need to not be weighed down. And the writer of Hebrews talks about something in particular that weighs us down. He talks about sin being the encumbrance with which we need to lay aside. So we need to remember to lay down our sin at the foot of the cross, because Christ died and took that sin and paid that price for us. And we can move forward, not because of our own goodness, but because of His goodness. And thirdly, when we run, we need to fix our eyes on Jesus. We need to focus our gaze. And when you run, do you focus on what's behind you? Maybe for a moment, but that is only to spur you forward. When you run, you need to focus on the finish line. You need to focus on moving forward. So we need to focus on Jesus Christ, the author and perfecter of our faith, because only Jesus is perfect. So we strive forward. We strive to be more like Him as we seek to be fully sanctified, not on this earth, but in heaven when we achieve glory. And then, God willing, we hear those wonderful words, "Well done, good and faithful servant." So those three things that I told to the graduates also applies to each and every one of us as we run this race of life, pressing on toward the goal, fixing our eyes on Jesus. Do you remember your cloud of witnesses? Do you run unencumbered by sin? And do you run with your eyes focused on Jesus Christ, the author and perfecter of our faith? How can you draw nearer to Him and be more like Him this week. So I wanted to encourage you with that message today, and our regular schedule changes a little bit for the summer. The main change is Sunday evenings, our 6 p.m. service is paused for June and July. So Sunday, we have Sunday morning, Bible study at 9:45, service at 11, and then that's it. In the evenings, we have sometimes an evangelistic event at 6 p.m., but you must check our calendar to see when those are. Sunday evening service will resume later on in August. We have our Wednesday night prayer service at 6 p.m. every week. And now, after celebrating Mother's Day, after celebrating our 60th anniversary as a church, and after celebrating the graduates, we turn to Vacation Bible School. VBS is our largest evangelistic event of the year, and it requires each and every one of us participating in it. So, if you haven't volunteered for Vacation Bible School, make sure you get in touch with Rochelle or Lauren and volunteer for VBS. We are doing Wonder Junction this year, and I can't wait for it. That's going to be at the end of June, the 25th through the 29th. I pray that you would be part of that. I pray that you would consider serving as part of that. And if you're with another church, that you would be part of the VBS that your church is putting on. And for all of us, pray for Vacation Bible School. Pray that the students would respond to the gospel, that they would bring their parents to church, that they would respond to the gospel. Because Vacation Bible School exists not as a daycare, but to tell children the good news of Jesus Christ. With that, I pray that you have a wonderful week. May the Lord bless you, may He keep you, and make His face shine upon you.